Hey guys, Dan Heilman back with another video. Today we're going to talk about 3 different methods to know when you are ready to take profits. Now, one of the methods will be specifically for most cryptocurrencies. Another method will work with any assets. The other 2 methods will work with pretty much any other assets. These are not my own design, these different ways of doing it. So we'll go through and I'll just show you. And this should be a good idea of how you can take profits when you know you're ready to take profits. Okay, so that is huge. You know, you're spending all this time in the market. You have to exit the market at a good time to get the most out of your money and time and all of that good thing. So before further ado, I am not a financial advisor, so do your own research. And this is just what I'm doing. This is how I will be doing it. If you want to download TradingView or trade on any of the exchanges, I have links below in the description, but let's begin. Okay, the very first one is something called a risk metric. Now, there's a couple different ways you can get it, and it is something that into the cryptoverse, if you don't know, there is a gentleman who runs this website and he has a YouTube channel. I'll put some links below to his channel if you want to go check him out. But what we are looking at here is a risk metric. Now, you do have to pay to get access to this website. So I'll kind of just show you how it works, and then I'll show you a free version in TradingView that you can use instead of this. So basically what this does is it uses some math. He does not disclose the formula. I believe it says down here. Yeah, okay, here you go. So it says he does not disclose it, but it has something to do with moving averages. There is some calculation that he uses to make this red curve. Okay, so you can see in blue, we have the price of Bitcoin. It is in a logarithmic scale. You can change all that up here, and you can see the different moving averages, etc. But as you can see, is anytime the Bitcoin price got above, let's say, 0.8. Now, if your risk tolerance is really high, you could say, all right, I'm going to wait all the way till I get to, you know, up here, 0.875 or something like that, or even all the way to 9. But as you can see, there kind of seems to be some diminishing returns with this, right? So the 2013 crypto cycle hit all the way to the top, and then the 2018 did as well. But then if you look, the 2021 cycle got cut a little bit short. So you can use this metric, and it is very useful. I'm going to be using this mainly for my Bitcoin trades to know when I'm going to be getting out. It also works in the inverse. You can use it to buy as well. So if you were purchasing Bitcoin, for example, in 2023 for $16,000 and a risk of 0.2, you'd be doing really good, right? And then if you sold up here, let me use an example from the 2021, right? So if you were purchasing at 0.2, that's right about here, right? So that gives you a 5.5K Bitcoin price. And then if you sold when it got above 0.8, you're selling at 36K. Pretty good, right? And then if you even would have waited to 0.9, you would have sold all the way up at about 45K. So this is a very interesting metric. Now, let me show you how you can do it on TradingView. You're going to look for this called a risk metric. Okay, so if you just hit indicators and you just search risk metric, okay, you can see this one right here, Bitcoin risk metric 2. Okay, so this one I have found that works quite well. And then what you can do is you can go in here. So if you have this hidden, unhide it, and then you can click down here and you can hit the settings button and you can play with the colors, and you can also change where your risk metric is. So I have changed it to 0.2 and 0.7. I think it starts at like 0.4 and 0.6 or something like that, maybe 0.3, 0.6. So now if you look at the chart, this is the chart, the weekly chart of Bitcoin. You can see that this is going to tell you when it's showing this red indicator up here that, hey, we're a little bit risky. So it's going to say, you know, if it's red, that means, all right, it's probably getting time to sell, right? So again, if you were to sold directly all of it at 0.7, you're not going to make much because you would have sold at 26,000. However, if you sold, I don't know, 25%, you know, when you hit 0.75, for example. Okay, so 0.75 means you would have sold a decent amount over there. Let's say, what's about the middle of that? About 33,000 or so, right? And then you would have saw it go up, spike even higher and hit up to basically almost 1. And then you would have sold right here near the top at about 58K. Same thing for buying. You can see I have this set at 0.2 and it says I should have bought in 2020 money on March 16th, and that would have been a buy of about $5,000, and then you would have sold about let's call it, I don't know, 50,000 if you didn't even time it that well. That's a 10x, perfectly 10x, just by using this one indicator. Even better if you would have bought back here when it was really green at about 3,000. So when you see this indicator, don't blow your whole load in one go. Don't just say, all right, I'm going to use all of my cash to buy and all of my Bitcoin to sell. Sell maybe 25%. Wait, see what happens, right? See if it continues to go up. So same thing here. You go into the next cycle and you're like, okay, if I would have bought in 2022 when this was really red, it almost went all the way down to zero right here, and you would have bought it for about 19 grand. And then if you would have sold it even right when it came into the red zone, even right away, you would have sold it at about 63K. So boom, you would have, what is that? Basically, that 3-4x your money very quickly. So very solid gain from that, right? Even if you sold at whatever 64K, you're up 300%. So very solid. So this is the metric that I will be using to sell my Bitcoin. And if you are a member of Into the Cryptoverse, I'll link his channel because he was kind of the creator of this. So this is, from him and his team, I'm sure. But there's also different assets in here. So if you have his membership, it is kind of pricey, so I can't help you there. But if you have his membership, you can see you can do it for all these different coins. This is what I'm going to be using. So I have a lot of Ethereum, I have a lot of Binance coin, I have a lot of Solana. So I'm going to be doing kind of the same thing. You can see Solana is actually kind of high on the risk limit right now. So this was kind of saying that maybe we should have started selling around $180. And honestly, you would have been able to buy back in at like 130, 120. So, it could kind of fake you out in the beginning where you sell, but then if you see this, the risk metric got to 0.8, you could have sold at 180. And if it went back down, if you really felt like it was going to pump again, you could have bought back in. So, obviously no one indicator is going to exactly time the top or the bottom. That is just impossible. But this should give you a pretty good shot at getting near the top or bottom. Okay. So that is my first metric. The second way that you can do this is to be using something like a logarithmic scale. So this is the Bitcoin price. And so what you're going to do is you're going to put it on the logarithmic scale in the bottom right hand corner. You just click the little settings button, and then you're going to click the logarithmic. And then what you're going to do, it's going to put it on here. Then you can go over to your whatever this called, this little bar on the left hand side. You're going to grab curve. So you're going to go over here, you're going to go to curve, and then you're just going to drag this curve onto it. It gives you a couple points, and you can go like this, and you can kind of just align it however you want to make it fit the data. What you're doing is you want 3 curves. You can do 2 if you want, but basically I have a curve that's all the way following the bottom, okay, on this logarithmic scale, and it's going to go on forever. It's really hard to fit this side, so once you get more data, you'll be able to fit it a little bit closer, but it should give you a pretty good idea. Then you'll do a curve for the top. You can see you'll go through the top of all of these. You're going to hit here, you're going to hit here, and then I don't have another one. Now, if you have more data, you can use data that has the first cycle if you want. And then I put a middle curve, and I just try to keep it directly in between these two. So now what this shows me is roughly a band that you have of different things. And you can see this. A lot of people have these. They're called rainbow charts. I think you can even see it in here as well. Let's see if we have, yeah, something kind of like this as well. Kind of the same thing, right? So this is what you're seeing. You can see this is what a lot of, people use. Logarithmic scale is very useful if you don't know much about it. But anyways, it just allows you to kind of have a target, right? So now as the cycles go, you can see all of the time here, right? As I've talked in other videos, you can see that there's very similar time for all of these cycles here. So you can basically use that timing to kind of pick where the top's going to be, okay? So you can say, all right, here's the timing. I know that the top is going to be somewhere where this blue line is, hopefully sometime next year around September. So this gives you a couple different things, right? This gives you a timing because now you know the cycles, right? Because you can see here, I have 525 days between the halving and the top. And it's pretty similar to a lot of the other ones, right? So if you go over here, 553 days, you can go over here, 525 days. So it's going to be somewhere in the 540-ish time frame, okay? So then if we put that here, we know, boom, it's going to be right around here. 525 days gets us around the end of the year next year. Great. So what are we going to see here? Now, if we hit this blue line perfectly, we're going to be about $225,000, okay? So This one is a little bit, it doesn't give you like an exact time, but you can see when you're approaching where the top should be. Now, who knows? You have stuff like this in 2019 where you had thought maybe we were going to hit another top, and we ended up kind of rejecting and then kind of going back down and then doing this. Now, this was not a regular 4-year cycle, so this was kind of like a fake out to the 4-year cycle falling apart, but this is another way to do it. And then a third way, I'm going to do it on the S&P 500. I've seen a lot of people come in here and they'll add different angles, okay? So let's see what we got going on. So we have this very first bullish angle here. You can see this line here, okay? So here's the bullish support line. We're going up in a rising channel, okay? And then we kind of broke out of this and we made a second angle here, okay? See the second angle? And then this is kind of for like blow off top. So let's pretend now that we are starting to make a third angle right here, okay? So if we're making a third angle right here, you can see now this is the third and final angle, okay? So this basically what this means is, okay, now we're in the blow off top portion, okay? So now we're gonna say, all right, as soon as we break out of this third angle, maybe we're gonna start going back down. And if you know anything about the 18.5-year cycles, we should be expecting a recession at the end of next year. So what I'm thinking is maybe we're going to follow this up, hit pretty hard, and then maybe we're going to pop out of it maybe sometime near the end of 2025. So maybe somewhere, you know, in here, who knows? Maybe it won't be that long. Maybe we'll come into a financial recession a little bit sooner. But this is kind of the third method that you can use to kind of find where the top is. All right, that's gonna be it for the video. Kind of a long one, but I just wanted to go through and just talk about how I'm going to take profits for all of my assets. I'm seriously considering selling a lot of my stocks as well, because we are coming to the end of the 18.6-year cycle. If you don't know what that is, I watch a gentleman on YouTube, TIA real estate cycle. If you just Google this and then hit images, you'll see this right here. And this is what I'm talking about, right? So he does this guy is really good, Jason. Feel free to follow him. I'll put a link for him as well in the description below. But this is kind of what has been tested for a long time. 200 years of data, you can see here. 200 years behind it. And you can see the years that this starts. You have a mid-year cycle. You have the winner's curse phase, which is where we're at right now. And then you can see peak and collapse major recession. So this should start 2025 or 2026. And then basically come down, and it's saying that 2029, 2030, maybe that's somewhere near the bottom, okay? So if you're real risky and want to make a lot of profits, you could potentially sell a lot of your stocks at the end of next year and then hope to purchase them back in 2029, 2030, etc. So there's a lot of data that you can use. I maybe even use multiple metrics at the same time. You can use the risk, you can use the logarithmic, and you can use maybe that blow off top third angle calculator for finding the top, and that should help you exit your strategy. I will be exiting pretty much all of my assets, I think. Maybe I'll sell half my stocks, maybe I'll sell 90% of my crypto. I will only hold Bitcoin through a bear market. I will not hold alts. I will not make that mistake again. I've made that mistake 2 cycles now, and basically altcoins will go to zero. So be very careful holding altcoins in bear markets. They will literally just go to zero. If you look at any of them, even Ethereum, I mean, just the amount that got lost from Ethereum here, look at that, 94%, basically went to zero, right? You might as well sold it all and then tried to buy back in. Obviously, you'll never hit the top, you'll never hit the bottom, but if you get close, you're going to do a lot better than just holding it down to the grave. So that's it for the video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Again, kind of a long one, but I wanted to go through 3 different strategies you can use to find the top, take profits. You can even use them in the reverse. Besides the third one, you can use them in the reverse to purchase at a good price as well. So hope that was useful. If it was, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Have a great day, everyone. See you guys.